Can we win the treble in 2024 only signing players under the age of 21 at Man United? Let's go. So we're going to need some Wonderkids. First thing to do, assess the squad. Starting at the back, and it's unlikely we'll find an under 21 player who could come anywhere near to De Gea's current ability. Therefore, De Gea stays. We could, however, recall Dean Henderson into the fold to give him some much needed competition. This means we could phase De Gea out by the end of the season on account of his massive £375,000 per week contract and bring in an under 21 star to maybe understudy or compete with Henderson. When we compare the two, there's not much in it. De Gea comes on top for aerial ability, but Dino has far better communication. Right back, that seems stacked, right, on the face of it, but fact is, neither Aaron Wan-Bissaka or Dalot are good enough, and probably never will be. Therefore, I propose a move for Tino Livramento. The 19-year-old English fullback already has 14 crossing and dribbling, as well as good tackling, determination, pace and stamina. But there's a problem. He's currently out for 9 to 10 months with a damaged cruciate. That's not good. So we'll have to settle for Nathan Patterson, who is admittedly a poor man's Livramento, and we'll keep Dalot for competition in that spot. Transfer listing Aaron Wan-Bissaka and maybe replacing Dalot with a younger model when the time is right. Centre back also looks stacked, right? And a lesser man would be tempted to stick. Not me. I can see the real problem here. The albeit tenacious Martinez lacks the crucial and fundamental ability to be tall, and hence will never be a top centre-back in the game, according to me. And Varane, well, he's got a slight problem with injuries. You don't want that in your centre-backs. You need them there, week in, week out. P.S. Maguire can just get lost. I think that goes without saying, right? To fix this, I propose a move for Giorgio Scalvini. He could be our tall defensive monster. The 6'4" Italian 18-year-old already has 14 for marking, heading, tackling and positioning, 15 for concentration, which I think is a key and often overlooked stat for centre-backs. And crucially, he's comfortable on the ball as well. And to partner him eventually, I think, to maybe overtake Varane, we're going to get Antonio Silva. He's a level-headed Portuguese wonderkid who has everything required to become a world-class centre-back. He's great already. Now, Luke Shaw at left-back is world-class, and I think Malacia provides good cover, but we do look weak in centre midfield, literally. So, a move for the mighty Bellingham makes tons of sense. And honestly, I don't think it's that unrealistic. It just needs United to open their pocketbook or fund the move with player sales. We'll do both. JB is in. 100 million. Here's a breakdown of how this works for all you naysaying accountancy types. While we're in centre midfield, I think we'll actually pick up Zaire Emery as well. He can act as backup and eventually he'll step into the first team because this guy is one of the hottest rated under 18s in the world. It could be the ideal succession plan for Casemiro. But this begs the question now, how are we actually going to play? How are we actually going to line up in midfield? Do we play a 2? Do we play a 3? Do we play Casemiro and Bellingham? Do we play Casemiro, Bellingham and Bruno or Christian Eriksen? This is an important problem that needs answering. Time to pick a formation. I took a look on the internet and I found a successful looking tactic that seems to have an 85% win rate. What's more, it uses a second striker role that I think would be perfect for arguably our best player and probably our captain, Bruno Fernandes. But United clearly have a problem up front, not having an out-and-out striker anywhere close to the ability that you would expect of a club like ours. We've got Rashford and he's obviously one of our best players, but I think he also obviously nails down the attacking midfield left position in this formation. And we definitely want to keep the Man United tradition of always starting at least one academy player in every single game. Rashford is that player, will likely be that player for most games, right? Therefore, we need to find a Wonderkid striker for the Theatre of Dreams. Honestly though, there aren't that many true number 9 wonder kids about, not in the top drawer anyway. I mean, looking at Weghorst, for example, the guy we literally have on loan from the Championship, and if we compare him to the likes of the wonder kid replacements that you would expect, like a Sesko or a Haaland, is that how you say it, Haaland? The comparison graph, all you're really getting from the new guys is that little bit extra speed, which is great, but that's all you're getting. So I think it's worth considering at least a less traditional number 9, a player who may be a little bit diminutive but has really good like technical dribble-y type skills. Someone like an Ansu Fati who's world class and available for 50 million, right? That would add so much quality to the team straight away. It's an interesting debate, but I think in the end I want to go for someone like Sesko. Pace, height, power, guaranteed goals, surely. And that means Weghorst is just, he's got to go. And that means we also need a backup for Sesko. Therefore, Nathan Ferguson comes in as our final signing. This guy is basically a mini Irish Sesko. But there's a problem. Sesko has already agreed a deal with one of those stupid Red Bull teams. So we decided to go with the Brazilian Wonderkid gem, Marcos Leonardo. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this guy, but he's got great potential, like phenomenal potential, but I just don't know who's going to get that starting number 9 spot now between him and Ferguson. Maybe we just let them compete between each other, right? So that's the team complete. In goal, we have De Gea competing with Henderson. Patterson, Varane, Scalvini and Shaw, with a backup backline of Dalot, Antonio Silva, Lindelof and Malacia. The 2 centre midfielders, Casemiro and Bellingham, with backups of McTominay and Zaire Emery. Attacking midfield, Sancho, Fernandes, Rashford, and up front, Marcos Leonardo, with backups of Anthony, Eriksen, Garnacho and Ferguson. All in all, a net spend of around 200 million. I mean, Ten Hag has spent more than that this season, and his team's nowhere near as good as mine. Although I suppose I've already got his players, right? Like Anthony and stuff. But never mind. Speaking about Ten Hag, I'm going to need an assistant manager because I haven't got the time to be literally playing the whole 2 seasons of Football Manager. So why not bring him in as my assistant? We're going to need a captain as well. Bruno fits the bill nicely. I mean, he's got the leadership skills, the determination. And I think maybe we could have Bellingham then as our vice captain. So I went on holiday. I gave Erik ten Hag free reign over team selection, but I couldn't resist checking in on him after just a few games, and I found that the naughty little Dutchman was playing Rashford up front and Dalot at right back. That's not what we wanted. We want our Wonderkids playing, thank you very much, ETH. So I needed to give the Dutchman a little micromanagement. Hopefully he wouldn't take my instructions too seriously and run the players into the ground, but I want Nathan Patterson playing at right back, god damn it. And what was the result of my micromanagement? He lost his next 2 games. But he did go on to win 5 out of his next 6, so I left him to it. I didn't dip back in until December, which saw us 7th in the league. Results were mixed, but not terrible. However, I did notice that Erik ten Hag had been playing Anthony up front during Ferguson's injury period. Again, what is with this? Play Ferguson and Leonardo. It's not hard. Anthony up front. He's got bad finishing. Evan Ferguson, by the way, had been the most informed player in our last 5 games, so shout out to him. So I instructed Erik ten Hag to play Marcos Leonardo over Evan Ferguson while he was injured, and our new Portuguese Wonderkid defender over Scalvini due to the latter's drop in form. But it looked like my fears were being confirmed, with Bruno and Jude Bellingham being so tired that they were literally falling asleep in the corridors of Old Trafford. So I gave them 3 days rest from training and hopped back on my hollybobs, but this would mean checking in at least once more before May with Ten Hag, because I wanted to check on the Marcos Leonardo Evan Ferguson situation. In January the results were mixed, but we were still 7th in the league, and the games we had lost we seemed to be dominating in. Big problems in the dressing room though. David De Gea wants out. Jude Bellingham is unhappy. It seems he'd been being played in an unfamiliar role. I mean, that's definitely not my fault. He also needed a rest, along with Varane, and there were numerous players under 10 games by January that I definitely wanted to have games. It's bad for their development. It's also obviously not good for the guys who are playing 1 million games a season and needing a rest every 5 minutes. So to solve this problem, I decided to give Ten Hag full reign over team selection and actually tactics. The idea being that if he thought he needed to rest players, he could rest players, and potentially he would bring in the young players so they could get the games that I wanted them to get and obviously develop like I wanted them to develop. I mean, our next match is only Liverpool away. I mean, no pressure, Eric.
5 minutes later.
Okay, big problem. Erik ten Hag lost 2 in a row and left to his own devices. Liverpool away and Wolves away. Time to put the shackles back on, Eric. Ferguson has had a stinker since coming back from injury, and it's also time to put David De Gea back between the sticks. His number of the seasons is just so good, and too good to be ignored. No more tinkering now from me until May. Side note, to be fair to Erik ten Hag, if you look at expected points, we're actually 4th in the league. So it's not too bad. I did look a little bit further into the data as well, and I could see we needed to improve our possession game. So I went into the tactics and I adjusted it slightly, instructing the team to play slightly less tempo and a bit of a more positive mentality. Not that the latter would encourage more possession, but just, I thought, you know, we're Man United. We don't want to play balanced. We want to play at least positive. Okay, I did check on the team once before May, and to be honest, it went really well. A 10-game unbeaten run, beating Arsenal and Man City. Sound. But things really started cooking when I checked on the team in May. 4th in the league, with a UEFA semi-final and an FA Cup final on the horizon. But sacrifices have to be made for the team. Bruno Fernandes put his body on the line after scoring in the 4th minute of our FA Cup semi-final versus Hull and did his cruciate ligament. He'd be out for the rest of the season. And the season finished well, absolutely demolishing Red Bull Salzburg 5-0. Luke Shaw, Leonardo Rashford and Eriksen with 2, and Scalvini all scoring goals. We finished 3rd in the Premier League, nailing our objective for season 1. Now we've just got to win the treble next season. We're in the Champions League, baby. Come on. What's next? We also topped the goal scoring charts in the league with a massive 80 goals. This tactic is a beast. But it wasn't all smiles and pats on the back. We lost the FA Cup final to Liverpool in extra time as well at Wembley. Costa Tsimikas, of all people, scoring a late winner after Jadon Sancho had seen red. Time to build for this treble in 2024 with Wonderkids. Anthony had to go. The problem we had with Erik ten Hag liking to play him up front wasn't acceptable. He just doesn't have the finishing for that role. So as good as he is, and he is good, I'd like to replace him with someone like Moukoko. We want to push the older / mediocre players out of the club in favour of younger future stars. Now, Anthony is only about 23, 24, so he's very, very borderline, but listen, he's just got to go for the reasons I mentioned. Take Zaire Emery, for example. He's got huge potential, but he's been blocked from first team action by Scott McTominay, who had 11 starts in all competitions versus Emery's 3. Scott's got to go as well. It's a shame because we want to stay true to our homegrown players and play the United way, but we don't want to be carrying dead wood, especially if they're blocking our Wonderkids. And if we follow that logic down to goalkeeper Henderson, who's been at the club his whole career, can now finally take the place of the want-away David De Gea, whose massive contract expires this month. Rashford can have his left wing spot permanently. He's been great throughout, although I want him to improve on his 7 goals and 11 assists next term. Let's say about 15 goals and 15 assists as a target. I'll bake that into his new super long-term contract as a 50k bonus for every goal and assist. Maybe that'll boost your numbers, Marcus, me old China. Eriksen, I think I'm happy with. He's old, but I'd like to keep him because of his heroics when stepping in for Bruno last season and the fact that he offers a lot in terms of set pieces. That's hard to come by with youngsters. But the likes of Malacia, Dallo and Lindelof, they can all make way, even for replacements from the academy, although they don't seem guaranteed to hit the kind of potential that we need. The likes of Ethan Laird, Fernandez, Jackson and Mengi, for example. But we'll see what happens with those. Let's dip into the transfer market, right? We need a goalkeeper for backup for Henderson. And I spotted Charlie and Tommy Stepford, both brothers, both got great potential, both playing at Ajax. Tommy is 17 and has a current ability of 92 and a potential ability of 157, whereas Charlie is 19 and has a lower current ability and a lower potential ability as well, actually coming in at 148. So I checked the pre-game editor and I saw that both the Stefford brothers, is that how you say it, Stefford, have a potential ability range of 130 to 160. So I knocked up Charlie's potential ability to 150 because I need each signing that I'm making to have that as a baseline, and I signed them both, right? Having two brothers I think is just super cool. And while we're there, I thought, why not sign Jobe Bellingham? Now, his potential ability on this save is 150, so there's no need to mess about with that, because he can be considered a wonder kid. If you didn't know, it has to be between 150 and 200 potential ability to technically be considered wonder kid, to get that literal wonder kid media personality description. Move over, Gary and Phil. There's some new brothers in town, baby. And honestly, apart from that, I think we can cover all the other areas in the team with incumbent academy / under 21 players. And that's just a net spend of about 30 million. And that includes like a ton of youngsters, which I bought like off camera just for the youth team. So our team for the treble winning, fingers crossed, season of 2024 or 2023/24 is Henderson in goal with the Stepford brothers as backup, Nathan Patterson at right back with Ethan Laird as backup, Varane and Scalvini / Antonio Silva at centre back with a backup of Mengi, Luke Shaw and Alvaro Fernandez at left back. This kid looks like he's going to be great. Bellingham and Casemiro still at centre midfield with a backup of Zaire Emery and United incumbent Kobe Mainu. If that's how you pronounce it, his potential ability is 170. It's insane. Sancho / Makuku at right wing. I need to train Makuku at being good at the right wing, but I think his attributes are like perfect for it. Rashford / Garnacho / Elanga even at left wing. Fernandez / Ericsson / Ahmad Diallo attacking midfield centre. He's been ripping it up in real life. And then we've got Marcus Leonardo, Evan Ferguson and even Makuku as well, who could play as striker. That is a solid team of wonder kids with the spine of really good experienced players at Varane, Shaw, Casemiro, Bruno and Ericsson. Are we going to win the treble though? That is the question. This season I'm happy to give Erik ten Hag full reign on team selection. He'll be forced to play the youngsters, especially while Bruno is still out injured, right? He'll only have 5 or 6 senior players to choose from, and whether he plays Ferguson, Makuku, Leonardo or even Rashford up front makes no difference, because the youngsters will have to come in and play somewhere, right? I'm literally going to give him free reign over everything for the whole season. I'm not going to check on it, and I'm going to load the team back up now, having not seen what's happened at all.
5 minutes later.
Okay, so I'm literally covering my eyes here, and I'll try and cover the top of the screen for you guys so it doesn't spoil like our league position or anything. And let's have a look at the squad. So here in 2024, who scored the most goals? Evan Ferguson, 22 goals and 5 assists. So that's absolutely sick. Fergie boy has absolutely smashed it. Rashford got 22 goals as well. Rashford has smashed it. He's got his 30 goals and assists. He's got his £1 million bonus. 34 goals and assists. That's 22 goals and 12 assists. That is insane. Well done, Rashford. You've absolutely nailed it. How do I click back without seeing that? There it is. Okay, that's good. 17 goals from Bruno Fernandes in his second striker position. That's great. 6 assists. Marcus Leonardo, 15 goals, 3 assists. But who hasn't played games? Let's see. Also, Ethan Laird, not played a single game. Elanga, not played a single game. Luke Shaw. Oh, no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Ethan Laird, 12 games. Okay, let's sort by appearances. Makuku started one. Why did Makuku only start 1 game? Diallo played more football than Makuku. Was it injury? He still looks good though, doesn't he? Let's have a look at his injury history. 2023, he had a tight hamstring for 2 days and he had a bruised ankle for 2 days. That's not really good enough, is it? Erik ten Hag. I'm going to stop putting my hand up now. I'm just going to not look at the top for a while. Apart from that, not too bad. Zaire Emery, 10 starts, 32 appearances in all. That's enough for a decent bit of development. If we hover over him, we should see, yeah, he's getting quite good. Look at that. Zaire Emery, 15 passing, 15 technique. This is an exciting little team. I'd be happy to continue playing this, to be honest with you, because I really like this team. Let me know in the comments if you want like episode 3 of this. But moving on. Oh, scroll up. I didn't pay attention to that. Friendlies went well. We lost the Super Cup to Liverpool 2-1. Christian Eriksen scored in the 62nd minute, but the damage was already done with Van Dijk and Diaz. A couple of nice wins there. 4-2 against Tottenham. Ferguson with 2, Sancho and Antonio Silva scoring. 4-1 against the old rivals Hull. 6-2 in the Champions League against Inter Milan. Ferguson got a hat-trick. Patterson scored, Rashford scored, and Antonio Silva scored again. 2-0 against Dynamo Kiev in the Champions League. 2-0 against Middlesbrough in the Carabao Cup 4th round. We obviously came out of the Champions League group, right? Because we won every single game by the look of it. Not 2-2 well here. Lost 2-0 at home to Arsenal. That's not good. Bakayoko Saka and Martinelli scoring. That's followed up by a defeat at West Ham. Skamaka scoring 2. Kurt Zouma scoring 1. Rashford got 2 though. Carabao Cup quarter-final win. Carabao Cup semi-final. First leg win. FA Cup 3rd round win. We won the Carabao Cup. Second, we could win the quadruple. We're probably not going to win it though, are we? 5-1 win at Bournemouth, but probably not doing well enough in the league here to win the league. Drew with Wolves. 2-0 against Tottenham. Bruno Fernandes scoring a penalty and the 64th minute goal too. Oh, this looks like a good run of results. West Ham, we won 3-0. Goals from Rashford, Varane and Garnacho at 90 plus 3 minutes. Then a 4-1 win in the 4th round of the FA Cup against Middlesbrough. Paddy McNair, the old Man United player, scoring at 19 minutes. And Casemiro got a goal. Rashford got 2 goals. And Christian Eriksen scored in the 81st minute. That's followed up by a 3-0 win at Chelsea. Goals from Bellingham and 2 from Sancho. A 4-2 win in the first leg against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Goals from Leonardo, Sancho, Fernandes with 2. And a 3-0 win at Fulham. We did not lose a game in February, and that continues into March. A 1-0 win at Tottenham in the 5th round of the FA Cup. 2 goals from Ferguson, 1 goal from Sancho. This is looking sensational. We win the Carabao Cup 3-0. The quadruple is on. Garnacho scores in the 9th minute against Crystal Palace. Marcos Leonardo in the 65th minute scores. Christian Eriksen solidifying his hero status at Man United, scoring in another final as well. But it wasn't to last. We lose to Arsenal again in the league. 3-2 at the Emirates. And who scores the winner in the 92nd minute? Diogo Dalot, of all the people to potentially end our league season. And I just looked at the top of the screen. We finished 3rd in the league. How close was that? How close did Dalot make it, scoring in the 90-something minute? 77 points, and the winner Liverpool had 86. Arsenal had 82 points. So 5 points between us and Arsenal. That Dalot goal, that meant something, man. Okay, we win the second leg against Mönchengladbach, so it's back on. We win against Villa 1-0 in the Premier League. We win against Newcastle 1-0 in the Premier League. Rashford scoring at 71 minutes, but we've lost the FA Cup quarter-final. 2-1 to Wolves. Kuna with 2 goals, Fernandes with 1. The treble dream is over. We haven't won the Premier League, we haven't won the FA Cup. Oh, and look at this, we lose to Bayern Munich, the old enemy. 1-0 and 4-2, and that ends our season. Got it. Been such an exciting video to make though, so thanks for watching. I guess. Peace. We'll see you next time. Let me know if you liked it. We'll try again.